Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our Sadguru. Revered elders, respected teachers, all brothers and sisters, and everyone joining us live, Sai Ram and good evening. When do most people go to temples? When do we intensify our prayers or turn to God for help? It is mostly when we have difficulties or when we are helpless with some problems. Even as students, when we come to Swami's institution, we come primarily to get good education or to improve the condition of our family. At that time, we may be arthis or artharthis. Over a period of time, our needs are taken care of. Then slowly, through the Paravidya classes and listening to Swami's discourses, we become jignasus, pondering over higher concepts and asking deeper questions. Swami very compassionately helps all three categories, all the while nudging and gradually guiding us to progress towards becoming jnanis. These are the 4 categories of devotees described in the 16th shloka of chapter 7, Gnana, Vignana Yoga. According to their needs, the Lord may be dear to them, but we must strive to become jnanis as only they are dear to the Lord. Prahalada, a true gnani, believed that Lord Narayana was omnipresent, but his vignana enabled him to have faith that he would be protected even when he was thrown from the cliff or left to be trampled under a mad elephant. It was his vignana that made him to recognize that the fierce form of Narasimha was none other than Narayana himself. Every time we quench our thirst, every time we breathe, or every time we walk on earth, how many of us realize that they are all verily the manifestation of Brahman? As Krishna says, he is verily the brilliance of the sun, the taste of water, and fragrance of the earth. Let us not wait for any more births to have that realization that the whole cosmos is verily divine, Vasudevam Sarvam Iti, and that we are in the presence of that very same divinity. We will now chant the important shlokas from chapter 7.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Saptamodhyayaha Gnana Vignana Yogaha Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Saktamanaf Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yathajñasyasi Tachrunu Jnananteham Savijnanam Idam Vakshyamya Sheshataha Yajñatva Neha Bhuyonyat Jnatavyamavashishyate Manushyanam sahasreshu Kaschidyatati siddhaye Yatatamapi siddhanam Kaschinmam veti tattvataha Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu Khammano buddhirevacha Ahankara iti yamme Bhinna prakritirashtadha Apareyamitastvanyam Prakritim vidhi me param Jiva bhutam mahabaho Yayedandharyate jagat Etadyonini bhutani Sarvani tyupadharaya Aham kritsnasya jagataha प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा मत्तः परतरन्नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जया मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः खे पौरुषं नृषु पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनं बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम् बलं बलवताञ्चाहं कामरागविवर्जितं धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभा ये चैव सात्विका भावा राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहन्तेषु ते मयि त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैः एभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितन्नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम् दैवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः माययापहृतज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुना आर्तो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभा तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्ता एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रियः उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम् बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मासु दुर्लभः कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तन्तन्नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया यो यो यां यान्तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति tasya tasyachalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. Antavattu phalantesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavamajananto mamavyayamanuttama. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudho yannabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mantu vedana kaschana. Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Yeshanttvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandvamoha nirmukta bhajante mandrudhavrataha. Jara marana mokshaya mamashritya yatanti ye te brahma tadviduh kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Sadhibhutadhidaivam mam sadhiyajnancha ye viduhu prayanakalepi cha mam te viduryukta chetasaha. Om tatsat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gnana Vignana Yogo Nama Saptamodhyayaha. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
May we now invite our revered Chancellor, Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy Sir, to address all this evening.
With loving pranams at the feet of Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, brothers and sisters and very dear students, boys and girls. Yesterday evening, Sadguru said, Karma Yoga is for purification of the mind, and Dhyana Yoga is for steadying the mind. If young people, our students, can practice and achieve some purity of mind and some steadiness of mind, it will be a great preparation for their life in the world, both materially and spiritually. The question is whether students, young students, can practice Karma Yoga. According to me, they can practice Karma Yoga better than elders because their minds are not yet polluted by the world, contact with the world. For practicing Karma Yoga, of course, it's not only for students, for everyone. Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has given 5 very short formulae. If we can remember them and also contemplate on them, that is mananam, then nididhyasam is possible. That is, practice is possible. We may also call them the 5 steps in the path of Karma Yoga. First is yoga karmasu kaushala. The second is samatvam yoga uchyate. Third is karmanye vadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. Fourth is tat kurushva madarpanam. Fifth is nimittamatram bhavasavya sajya. The first 3 are found in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and the other 2 were the 4th one in the 9th chapter, and the 5th one in the 12th chapter. You find this. They are very simple sutra, simple guiding principles by practicing which we can attempt to practice Karma Yoga. Ultimately, as Sadguru has said, you become a perfect Karma Yogi when you become perfectly selfless, absolutely selfless. That is when you become an instrument in the hands of God. You know that you are not the doer, everything is done by the Lord Himself. The first is yoga karmasu kaushala. Without achieving excellence in action, in our action, without achieving competence in our duties, we can never become Karma Yogis. Whether you do it with the desire for the result or without the desire for the result is immaterial. The first thing, we should be competent in doing whatever we are doing. It can be a small thing, unnoticed by anybody, especially unnoticed by anybody. If we can really achieve this, it will be a great step forward. In long back in Muddenahalli, when I was warden here 50 years ago, almost 45, 50 years ago, there was a student. He was given the simple duty of preparing the altar for the evening prayers. And he was alone. Only one boy was doing that job. And we noticed that everything would be spick and span. I wanted to test whether he will only set right things, clean up places where we see, where the warden sees or teachers see. Sometimes I would test by going to the window sills and putting my hand. You go to any room in the hostel, you put your hand on the window sill, you gather a lot of dust. But here in the prayer hall, even if you put both your hands, not a speck of dust. Then I called him one day and asked him, how is it that you do the work so well? He said, sir, God is watching me. Swami is watching me. Baba is watching me, he said. Therefore, anything big or small, we have to be competent. We have to be efficient. Daksha, samartha. Then what do you mean by that kind of competence? See, there are 4 guiding principles. Very simple. First thing, whatever we are doing, for to whomsoever we are doing, they should be satisfied. That should be the first principle. If a teacher says, sir, I am the best teacher in the school, but students are all useless, they don't understand anything, we can easily conclude teacher is useless. Because he is teaching for the sake of students. Unless he goes down to their level and teaches in a way that even the dullest of the students in the class can understand, He is not an excellent teacher. He is not a good teacher. He is not an able teacher. Therefore, ability is a casualty. Similarly, a cook. See, cook prepares food. And sometimes in the hostels, being hostel warden for many decades, I know that some items would be left on the counter till the end. Means there is no second time, nobody would ask for it. We know that it is not prepared well. As warden, I go to the kitchen and ask the cook, "Sir, I have cooked well, sir. Students, sir, they go to stores and eat all kinds of things. Therefore, they don't relish hostel food." So that's what I would say, no, that is not acceptable. Therefore, the first thing is, if there is a student who is doing a homework, the teacher should be satisfied. Therefore, anything, anybody, first thing is, whatever you are doing should be to the satisfaction of whomsoever you are providing that service or that work. The second is speed. See, many times, for a job which can be done in 10 minutes, you take 30 minutes but do it well, then you are not able. At least by practice, you should be able to achieve speed also. What can be done in 10 minutes, you should be able to finish it in 10 minutes. Third is consistency. What is consistency? Say a cook prepares food, sometimes very good, when his mood is good. Mood is bad, food is bad. See, that is not acceptable. You are not competent. You are not the daksha. You are not a samartha. Suppose some people also say, "I sing very well when there is mood." See, that is not real efficiency. Therefore, consistency. And fourth is also very important, that when we achieve competence, when we achieve efficiency, it should be not at the cost of our human relationships. Because we work in a community life, you work with so many people. I am very able, but I hurt 100 people on the way. See, that is no good. So these four factors, if students can keep in mind, one is satisfaction of the persons whom you are doing things. The second is speed, third is consistency, and fourth is you should be as humble, as courteous, as good as possible. That happens if you develop a little love in your heart for everybody. So yoga karmasu kaushala. The second is samatvam yoga uchyate. In first, there is no question of whether you devoted to God or not. Your only job, put your heart and soul and do the job. You become immersed in that job. That is also a kind of state of yoga, actually. You forget yourself. Sachin Tendulkar once said, "I play best on the field when I forget myself. When he forgets, I am batting." Similarly, a singer does his best when he forgets himself. Anybody, it is so. Therefore, putting your heart and soul, forgetting everything else, is the secret in achieving that yoga karmasu kaushala. Here onwards comes devotion to God, faith in God. Samatvam yoga uchyate. See, many times it so happens with students also that we think we have done well in the examinations, but results are not good. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. Especially sportsmanship is very, very, very important. In this regard, samatvam yoga uchyate. Nobody wins all the games he plays. Nobody loses all the games he or she plays. Therefore, taking everything equanimously, with equal-mindedness, that is, success comes, you think it is gift from God. It is boon from God. Therefore, I am very grateful to you, God. Don't bloat. Don't bloat. Don't get excited. Don't feel the ego sense again and again coming up. Somebody pats you on the back. Whole day you are thinking of it. No, it's God's grace. God's grace has given me success. Suppose you fail. It is God's will that I have failed. Therefore, you don't get deterred. Therefore, then, see, this faith in God, without faith in God, achieving samatvam is impossible. See, that is what happened to Jesus Christ on the cross. Now, when he was being crucified, he actually said, he told God, can this bitter cup pass from me? Why I am given this bitter cup of all people? Then he became very restless. Then he felt this is not correct on my part to question God. Thy will be done, not mine. Immediately peace enveloped him, though he was being crucified. Therefore, the surrender to God, faith in God, is very important for achieving samatvam or equanimity. Without faith, that is not possible. And the third is karmanye vadikaraste mapaleshu kadachan. Whatever, see, first you have already achieved excellence in action, therefore it is your nature. Whatever you do it well. But don't do it expecting the immediate result. Then the question will be asked, where is the motivation for work? Suppose, a businessman is doing business. Suppose he has no motivation to earn profit. Why will he do business? There is no motivation. That is why second line says, Mato sangostu akarmani. By saying that I don't desire for the results of my actions, don't lose interest in action. Don't become inactive. See, that warning is also there. Then what is the motivation? It's a very simple motivation. Children will understand it very well. Instead of, suppose, I'm studying very well. Ask him, why are you studying? I want to get good marks. See, that is your desiring the result. Then what else you desire? I want to please Swami. That's why I study well. See, that instead of the karma pala, you desire for the anugraha pala. Anugraha pala means God's grace, fruit of God's grace. Instead of immediate result, getting good marks, getting a pat on the back, getting a prize on the platform, you have the desire, but desire is replaced by a higher desire. The desire is, I want to please God in whatever I do. I want to make Swami happy. I want to make Sadguru happy. See, that is enough motivation actually. That is more than enough motivation. Replace the desire for karma pala with anugraha pala. It is always possible. It is all because once you have God's grace, you can always succeed. See, success in life is guaranteed for you. Let me tell you, as a student, when I was writing my final year engineering examination, I had not studied well, I did not do well, but Baba had told me, I will look after your future. I got a state rank. In papers, I attempted 35 marks. I got 45. Therefore, if you win God's grace, you can succeed. Therefore, you will get both God's grace and the result of the action for which you are working. Therefore, replace the motivation. Always, whatever you are doing, why are you doing? For please Swami. Why are you doing? Please God. Why are you doing? For winning God's grace. See, that is the way of implementing and practicing karmanyeva adhikarastu. And then tat kurushva madarpanam. See, this is the next step. Means whatever you are doing, once you have practiced all the first three steps, this becomes very easy. Whatever you are doing, you will offer it to God. Whatever I am doing is for you. I am doing for you. Maybe in the beginning, what students can do is, before they start a job, just few seconds pray. Swami, I am doing this for you. You do your job, putting your full mind and soul into the job. At the end, you say, Swami, I have done my best. I offer it to you. Tat kurushva madarpana. See, once you achieve this, automatically your ego goes on dissolving, and without your knowledge, you will become an instrument in the hands of God when you know that you are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer, and it is God who is doing everything, it is God who is enjoying everything. Therefore, these are very simple steps for everyone to practice Karma Yoga. And tomorrow I would like to tell you a few things about Dhyana Yoga. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadguru for enlightenment on the 7th chapter, Dhyana Vignana Yoga, and also to answer our questions. Thank you very much.
as Bhagavan Sri Krishna teaches us the truths of our existence in Bhagavad Gita, chapter after chapter, the depth of that knowledge becomes more and more. While the second chapter was the summary of almost the whole of Bhagavad Gita, chapter by chapter, Shri Krishna reveals the various aspects of how one should lead one's life in this world, how one should act, as just Narasimhaji explained, for the joy of God, for the pleasure of God, how one should steady the mind, and how one should realize that one is none other than that divinity which is manifesting in this form, in this name, at this point in time. So as you keep progressing, things are going to get deeper. It means it needs more of your attention, more of your interest, more of your shraddha. Else it will sound disinteresting sometimes. So when you come to enter the gnana vignana yoga, we have finished dhyana yoga. And dhyana yoga's main objective was to help us steady our minds and focus on this idea that everything is divinity and everything is done by the divine for divine's sake, not for anything else. But to put our mind on this one steady thought, for some time we feel, yes, it is all done by God only. But another time, in a moment of ego or some appreciation from somebody, this focus that everything is for the divine, by the divine, of the divine, goes away. And ego creeps in, and then we feel we are the doer, we are the enjoyer. So keeping the mind steady on this thought, that everything is done by divine for the sake of helping everyone, which is what pleases the divine, that keeps going away from our focus every now and then. So when you are out of focus, you take a camera for that matter. When it goes out of focus, what do? You turn the lens and then you focus it back and then click a picture, then there is clarity. If you click without focusing, then there is no clarity in the picture. So mind is an instrument which captures, like a camera, our understanding of things. And when this understanding that everything is for to be done for the sake of the divine, in fact, divine is the doer and divine is the enjoyer of everything, goes out of focus, our mind goes out of focus because of various other distractions in the world, we must focus it back through dhyana and bring it back to the same understanding, same attention. Everything is done by divine for the sake of the welfare of all, and that is what pleases the divine, that is what the divine enjoys. I think this much we have understood why dhyana yoga is important, so that we keep getting our mind back to focus on God and not on the world. Now as you go on, Sri Krishna is going to reveal who he is truly. Whom should you be devoted to? For whose sake are you working in the first place? Whom are you trying to please? So Arjuna's question could be, Krishna, am I supposed to fight this war to please you as Bhagavan Sri Krishna, or is it something more deeper than that? Even before Arjuna asks this, Sri Krishna tells him, and let me teach you something more than what you know. That while on one side I am this manifest, I am also the unmanifest, ultimate supreme energy, which makes everything happen in the world. Like I am the electricity which runs in all these bulbs, because of which all the bulbs are glowing. So my manifestation is light, but my another nature is just pure electricity, which can become light, fan, heat, anything, sound, when it passes through various types of instruments. And that is why just now it was said, I am the rasa, the ability of taste within water. I am the brilliance in the sun. I am the abilities of human beings. I am the buddhi of intelligence of the intelligent people, and so on. It means all this is possible for us to behave or do in this world because of that energy that drives us all. Prano hi esha sarvabhuter vidhati. Mundakopanishad says there is prana, there is energy, which makes us all do what we are doing. You may say that I ate the food and that gave me the energy. It's a biological or physiological process. Yes, it is. But at the same time, this is not possible. Are we able to make it happen at our will? We are not. There is a mechanism which is already in place which makes all these things happen. And therefore, that mechanism has been designed and placed there by the divine. And whatever energy is produced using which we do whatever we do in this world is because of that divine. This is our understanding. Prana, we call it. Life force. That itself is divinity. And as you keep going down, and even the students of physics will know in quantum mechanics, or you go back to this Einstein theory of relativity or unified field theory, you will come to know that after you split the atom, what remains is just energy. And that energy is what runs the entire universe. The same energy, the quality of energy is the same, whether it is in a piece of wood here or in a star far away in the galaxy. It's the same one energy that runs everything, and that is what Sri Krishna is saying. I am that energy. My most purest unmanifest form is that energy. The manifest form is this Prakriti, the five elements, even the gross five elements, as well as the subtle things like mind, the intelligence, the ego, identification with certain bodies and names and things. All this is also my manifestation, but this is through my Maya. So Sri Krishna has introduced the word called Maya. This is, last time also he had told that through my Maya I manifest. And this time he is explaining that this Maya is the most powerful thing, which does not allow us to see the real Krishna, which is the divine energy in everything. Example is like that of gold. While somebody sees the bangle, the chain and the ring, the jeweler sees the gold in it. Both are right, both are wrong. If jeweler says this is gold, you will say no, this is a bangle. Yes, bangle, but what is it made of? Gold. So gold is the real reason why this bangle exists. Gold can exist without being a bangle, but bangle of gold cannot exist without gold. Likewise, this whole universe exists because of that divinity, but divinity without the universe also can continue to exist. So you have to sit, these are all very deep Advaiti concepts, you have to sit down and think a little more deeply. And this is the first time Krishna is revealing all these things to Arjuna and making him understand that he is much bigger than what Arjuna assumes it to be, because 85, 89 years they have been together. And the only thing they know about each other is that he is one prince and I am another prince and we are relatives. And this is how we are. They only know, at least Arjuna knows Krishna only from that point of view. But Krishna says, I know everything about you and everything else because I am everything else. I am everything else in my most supreme divine form. But when I manifest as avatar, as Sri Krishna, I have a certain behavior, certain other aspects, but not for a moment I forget who I truly am. I may behave like one of you, but I am none of you. I am beyond all of this. That is the idea of avatars, which is also described in the previous chapters, and Sri Krishna is elaborating on that idea of that supreme divinity which is formless but also manifests in everything as the supreme energy that controls, directs and does everything in this universe. So you will say, then what about the stone and the trees? Is that also divine? Yes, it is also divine. In our culture, everything is divine. Yat kinchat jagatyam jagat. Everything is divine. A piece of stone is also divine because in the piece of stone, what is lying? Some mineral. That mineral is some element. That element has some atoms. In that atom, if you keep splitting, there is energy. And that energy is divinity, is what we are telling. That's why there is nothing wrong. In Sanathana Dharma, we worship everything from trees to rivers to mountains, literally anything. Because in everything that divinity manifests, that is a form of the divinity. But the formless aspect is the energy part of it. So we really worshipping that energy which runs the whole universe. And when Krishna says that, but many people like to worship me in many different ways. Some of us like Ganesha, some of us like Shiva, some of us like Devi, some of us like some other form, some gurus. Whatever be the form, Shri Krishna says, go ahead, worship. But don't forget for a moment that beyond all these forms and names is that one divinity only. So don't fight, or like Shaivites fight with Vaishnavites, they fight with Shakthyas, and which is supreme. Similarly, all religions have come into existence. My God is better than your God. And this fight goes on because their understanding of divinity is very poor. And that is what Sri Krishna explains. This is vignana. This is the special knowledge you must have. Knowing that God is everywhere, everything, and how He is everywhere, everything, as that energy which controls, governs, directs and does everything. That supreme energy, that supreme, and this energy is not a mechanical energy which has no understanding of things. It is a conscious energy. It is aware. See, this is very difficult to make everybody understand, because what is the way we can prove this vignana, this special science, this special knowledge, that energy which is in everything, that scientists also will agree. Nobody can debate on that aspect, that energy alone exists everywhere. E is equal to mc squared means energy can be converted into matter, and matter can be converted back into energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It only transforms from one form to another. Physics laws. Nobody can dispute this part. So scientists have come this far and accepted. This is the gnana part of it, they have accepted. The vignana part of it, how is that energy? What is the nature of its energy? They say it's a mechanical force, or it is whatever, atomic, intra-atomic forces and things like that, weak nuclear, strong nuclear, and things like that. But the truth of this energy is that this is conscious energy. It has an awareness in it. But how to prove that there is this energy is conscious and awareness, that scientists have not come to conclude yet. They are still figuring it out. But they do understand that without some kind of a knowledge inherent in this energy, it's not possible why two atoms, when they come together, they become hydrogen, gas, or when four of them or three of them come together, that becomes something else. Why two atoms of hydrogen and one of oxygen or molecule of oxygen put together is water molecule? No, this combination, this very understanding, how do they come together? Why they don't become something else? Why the reaction happens in the same way and not another way? They cannot explain. They say this is all natural phenomenon. By nature, it happens like that. This is how it is. But as scientists, they cannot explain how it happens. But our scripture says this happens because that sutra manigada iva, that connecting force of all the atoms and molecules and elements and particles and all the manifest and unmanifest things is one source, and that source is divinity. This is how our scriptures have defined it. Now, can you prove it empirically, scientifically, that this is a conscious force? Very difficult. But now more and more work is happening. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. And many scientists, including very large universities like Harvard and all, are working on understanding the nature of this energy which governs everything. Is it conscious or unconscious? They are trying to understand that. So science is somewhere at the edge of spirituality right now. One more step and they will be into spirituality. But then our scriptures already say it, and Sri Krishna has said it 5,000 years ago, that energy which is everywhere, which controls, governs, directs, which gives the property of water to water, the property of fire to fire, the property of everyone to everyone, that particular energy is me in that pure, formless aspect. So this is the gnana vignana basically. The title of the chapter is to be understood like this. God is everywhere understood. How? As energy in the supreme form and as matter in the lower form. That's what she apara prakriti and para. He says para means beyond. This prakriti is apara, the lower one. Lower manifestation is all the elements, the matter part of it. Higher manifestation is that conscious energy part of it. So these are the two things that Krishna is talking about in Gnana Vignana chapter. And then he says, to understand this concept which is so deep and difficult, you can't just get it like this by attending one Gita workshop. Bahunam janmanamante. After several births of practice and sadhana, one fellow comes to me and understands this. In fact, many people don't take to this path of spirituality. He says, Manushyanam sastreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. One fellow after thousands put some efforts on the spiritual path. That is the reason why so many people, come to here, but not everybody can stay forever. They get deviated, they get distracted, they get, carried away. Because it's not possible for thousands of people, one per thousand is perhaps able to even walk on this path. And amongst those who walk on this path, one fellow is able to realize my truth. So it's that rare. But I tell, in this Kali Yuga, the bars have been brought down. The thresholds have been reduced. It's easier to cross over at this point in time. It's the best time to do it. So if you put little effort also on this path, God's grace comes in plenty. Don't go by Narsimurti's example. He writes for 35, gets 45 marks. That is a bad examiner and bad. Don't go by these examples. The idea is that, yes, he was in trouble. He sincerely prayed. And something must have happened. He might have attempted for 45. He might have forgotten about it. We do not know. But idea is that when you do even little efforts on spiritual path, God becomes very happy. Becomes very happy. Oh, somebody is putting efforts to know me. Let me help, let me help. That is why he said, even if you are an arti, jignasu, artharthi or jnani, whoever you are, if you are taking to this path, you are a Sukritana Arjuna. Arjuna, they are all good people only because they have at least turned towards God and not turned away. They're astikas, not nastikas. That itself is the first achievement. If we believe in the existence of God, whichever form, formless, at least the first part has been taken care of. Now we will refine our understanding and improve our knowledge. That is what we have to do the next step. But see, after several births only this happened. Not everybody can do that. As I was walking in the darshan, just give you a live example, fresh from the oven. Two school boys, they both are mostly in the same class, probably 6th or 7th or 8th. One fellow says, Swami, can I attend the Bhagavad Gita workshop? I want to memorize all the 700 shlokas. That is one boy. I said, no, are you in 9th class? He said, no, then you cannot attend. When you come to the 9th class, you attend. I go a little forward, one more boy writes, Swami, I don't like it here. Please permit me to go home. I don't want to study here. This is the another student just a few steps ahead. Both are getting the same inputs, same food, same education, same environment. One wants to come for Bhagavad Gita class, which is not meant for that child because he's too young. But he wants to memorize the whole Bhagavad Gita. The other fellow is saying, I don't like it here, I want to go home. Please permit me. Bahunam janmanam ante kaschit. Somebody, after several births of effort, walks on this path. And after several efforts like this, comes to know me, Granvan mam prapadyate. He becomes a jnani and surrenders to me. The one who surrenders to God becomes God. That is Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. River, when one surrenders to ocean, is no more a river. It becomes the ocean. Likewise, the surrendered jnani is God himself. That's what Krishna says. I consider them as me. Who? The jnanis. By artartha jignasu artatis are also good devotees, but jnani is verily myself. Because he knows me and he is me. There is no difference between him and me. That's what Krishna is telling. So jnana is the most important aspect, and that comes to us as we keep praying to God, not desiring for things, but praying to God for that jnana. And God's main interest is that He wants more jnanis. I love people who come only for the sake of this wisdom, and they have not that they have problems do not have problems at home. They have. But keeping all that aside, they are very focused. Dhyana yoga, they are completely focused. I am here for this purpose. All other things are secondary. So that kind of jnani is very dear to me, Shri Krishna says. While I am dear to everyone because I am doing everything to find such a person who comes to me only for my sake, he has or she has no other agenda in life. Though there are other things happening, life is going up and down, everything. Then Krishna said that God is me in two ways. One, as the Para Prakriti, I am that supreme divine consciousness, that energy which pervades everything, and no place, no space, no object is bereft of it. On the other side, the manifested form is my Apara Prakriti, in which I come with a name and a form, using all the elements and do what is required with a buddhi, mana, chitta, everybody. So this is the idea of this gnana vignana yoga, and you must try to strive and become the jnani. See, once you have taken to this path, don't go back. I always say, Martin Luther King said, if you can't fly, you run. If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl, but do not stop. Do not stop on this path of spirituality. Do not take a step backwards. Come what may. Keep walking, keep crawling. Even to our organization people, I say, it's okay, we can't do one thing at this pace or whatever the constraints are. At least do it slowly, but don't stop. The moment we stop, restarting is a very big problem, especially in spirituality. Everywhere restarting is a problem. You start, okay, I start doing yogasana, I start learning some sports, music, arts. As long as you keep going, even if it is a slower pace, it is okay. But the moment you stop, starting again becomes a very big issue. So in spirituality also, having come this far, do not take a step backwards. At least move slowly, even if you can't move fast. But do not stop. Uttishtata, jagrata, prapya varan nibodhata, it says. Till you have achieved it, do not give up. Giving up is not the quality of a devotee. Don't give up. Once you have thought about it, till you achieve it, don't give up. Difficulties will come, mind will distract you with several attractions and easier ways, but do not give in to that. So Jnana Vijnana Yoga should help us understand whom we have to meditate on, in what way we have to meditate. When this morning I was going back, I was walking and I saw so many beautiful, gardens have become very nice in Muddenahalli, and I'm very fond of gardens and birds and nature. And I can't go and live in a forest, I have to bring a forest over here. So I was walking and I was seeing so many types of leaves, so many types of flowers of so many colors. Everything is different. Different birds. And I look at all these things, all this is that Krishna. In every of these things is the same divine consciousness. Whether they know it or not, it's a different matter. At least I know it, I am enjoying it. In every little thing, pratibodha vijitam matam. So beautiful that experience. Just stand there and watch that clouds passing by. In every of those clouds, there is this water. In every of those water, there is this hydrogen and oxygen, as a chemist. In every of those hydrogen and oxygen molecules, there is this electrons, protons, or whatever. Break them further down, there is pure energy. In every of those things. In the leaves, there is energy. In the birds, there is energy. In the flowers, the road, the mountain, the clouds, the sun, the stars, everything is that same energy which is governing the whole thing. It is so overwhelming an experience when you see the world from this lens of vignana, this special knowledge, this understanding. Suddenly everything looks so beautiful, everything becomes sacred. This is the idea, and we must develop this vision, try to observe the nature around us, the best teacher, as they say. This variety is not possible without a supremely intelligent being who has designed it all. It can't be just coincidence, it can't be just happenstance, it can't be just a fluke that just it happened, all these things. Once, I think it was Thomas Alva Edison, was a young man but also was very devout Christian. So he was traveling in a train, was reading the Bible, and there was another man sitting opposite, and he said, young people are getting, instead of pursuing science, they are getting into all this superstition, reading Bible and all. Edison said, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? He said, you people should take to science and not believe in this God and spirituality. It is not true. And he said, how do you know? He said, I am a scientist. He said, good. But Edison was not convinced. So this scientist, the train, journey got over and they were to get down. So Edison shared his card and said, this is my place. You can come and meet me, because this old scientist was not done with his convincing. So he wanted to meet him again and convince him thoroughly that science alone exists, spirituality is just superstition. So he went to Edison's lab. There he saw a model of solar system somebody had created. And the moment he opened the door, he saw a beautiful model of solar system, like we have in our science labs too. And he told Edison, who created this beautiful model of solar system? And Edison said, nobody created that. I just opened the door one day and it was there. He said, what are you talking? Have you lost your mind? How can something appear like this without a creator? He said, when the real solar system seems to have appeared without a creator, then this also should have appeared without a creator. So science people, they only get stuck with this lower science. Their vignana is not real vignana. Real vignana is this, that how to see that divinity in all. Well, everybody sees the waves, the spiritual person sees the water. And everybody sees the places, the spiritual person sees the space. And everybody sees ornaments, the spiritual person sees the gold. When everybody sees the world, the spiritual person sees God. This is how their vision is different, and that is what helps them to do the right things at all times, because all the time they are immersed in God. God is not just watching them. God is the one doing everything. God is the one enjoying everything. Where is the question of deviating from this thought? Every time you deviate from this thought, go and pick up a leaf and watch that leaf, and you will develop faith in God again. Every time you deviate from this, watch a sunrise and see how that brilliance happens, and you will develop faith in God. Every time you lose faith in God, smell that first fragrance of rain that falls on the earth, and you will know there is God. Everywhere there is God, and God alone is. Everything else is just the form, kind of manifestation of the same God. Develop this vision, and you will be ever happy. You will never be lost to God. God will be never lost to you, because everywhere you are surrounded by God. This is gnana vignana. Okay, you can ask some questions.
Swami, how do we know that meditation is happening? Does our effort to keep focusing on one thought cease when meditation happens?
Meditation is what just Narasimha told. When you lose yourself in doing what you're doing, that is meditation. Till then it is dharana, not dhyana. Dharana is the effort. Meditation is effortless state of being one with that thought. A singer trying to sing, when he's trying to sing, he is like trying to meditate. He's not meditating, he's still trying. He sat down, put the shruti, everything, and now he's starting to sing. The moment he loses himself in the swaras and the sound and doesn't know who he is or who she is, meditation, that time real singing happens. That time meditation happens. So meditation is an effortless state of being in a thought or a feeling. It's an effortless state. So you, generally how it is told, I meditated for 20 minutes today. No, you tried to meditate for 20 minutes today. It's not really you meditate. Just because you sat down and closed your eyes and focused your breath and whatever, focus your thoughts here on a particular mantra. No, you are trying to meditate. Meditation is like you simply naturally slip into that effortless state. When you meditate, you do not have an idea that you are meditating. It is happening. It is not being done. It is happening. So true meditation is that. So this dhyana that Krishna talks about is that. The preparation for dhyana is what Krishna is telling. Sit down, do this. But real dhyana is when you have lost yourself in the idea that everything is gone. Sri Ramakrishna Paramsa watched a flock of whatever, swans flying in the sky against the dark clouds above the river Ganges. He lost himself in samadhi. That effortlessness was there because he's always pure. See, pure mind can be very meditative mind. It's very easy for pure minds to meditate. Impure minds with too much of selfishness, too many ideas, too much of individuality struggles to meditate. Pure minds are very easy to meditate. That's why karma yoga, if you do, it's very easy to do dhyana yoga. Very easy. With little effort. Not immediately you will get it, but little effort. You will slip into meditation. Anything that you do, your whole focus will go into this. You will lose what you're doing. Like children, when they're playing, even playing is meditation. Just now I was seeing from my window, it was raining, but some kids were still playing in the football ground. They are not bothered about the rain and the cloud and anything. They're lost in playing. And I was thinking, in a way he's in a state of meditation because he's unaware of what's happening. What is the time? It's raining. There are things to do. Nothing is lost in that moment, in that playing. That's also meditation, but not this meditation you should be doing all the time. But anything where you have lost yourself, our scripture says, Jnanam gyayam tatha jnata tritayam nasti vastavam. This knower, knowledge and the known, when all become one, that is true meditation. Singing the song and the singer, they become one. They lose the distinctions, then is meditation. A surgeon operating, the surgeon, the surgery, and the very act of doing that, everything becomes one. The knowledge of surgery, everything becomes one. He is in the meditative state. So also spirituality, when the thought of God, the act of thinking of God, and the thinker of God, everything becomes one. That becomes meditation. So that is the true meditation. And once you develop that ability, it's very easy to do it again and again. It's the first time to get it right takes time. After that, it becomes very easy and spontaneous.
Swami, Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma is easy to say, but difficult to follow because everyone is different. How can we see the divinity in all?
That is what I just now said. What the ability of all is the divinity. The ability to do bad things also is because of divinity only. So if you find somebody who is terribly naughty, you should laugh and look at them and say, look at that divinity in that child or that person, which is now being used to do naughty things. But the ability of that person is divinity. Chakshuscha chakshu manaso manoyat. So pranasya prana, this is from Kenopanishad, says that which is the ability in all. The eye's ability to see, the ability of ears to hear, the ability of life force to keep us alive. All this ability is because of the divinity. And are we functional? Yes, we are functional. That functionality is because of divinity. Yeah, maybe not doing the right thing all the time. But being able to do anything is because of divinity. See, that is saying. That is why you see the bangles and the chains and the rings, you get confused. You see the gold, there is no problem. That is, you see the water, not the ocean, not the waves, not the froth. You see the water. Likewise, without water, can the wave, can the ocean, can the froth exist? No. Without gold, can the bangle and the ring and the chain exist? No. Without divinity, can a good and a bad and ugly exist? No. So divinity is the reason why anything happens or everything happens. So in everything you should divinity. It's just that because of the lower prakriti of mind, ahankara and things like that, that pure conscious energy has been distorted into other ways. Once you purify this, it will go back to the same original pure state. So try to see that ability, and with that you try to enjoy divinity,
Swami, How does one avoid feeling upset or hurt when faced with criticism?
It's only ego that makes you feel upset and hurt. If you have no ego, criticism is the most welcome thing. Because then you can improve, you can learn. If it's a good constructive criticism, you get to learn. What do you get to learn? That I have these things lacking in me. I can improve upon this, so thank you very much. Kabir Das says, Nindak niyare rakhiye. Keep your critics close to you, not your yes men friends. Or they will say yes, yes to everything. No, don't keep those. Keep your critics close to you and listen to what they say. And you can clean yourself without soap and water. That's what it says. Because that way you will be able to. So if it's a constructive criticism, there is a possibility of improvements. You should thank the critics. There is the question of feeling hurt. If it's destructive criticism, they are just doing it for the sake of it, to demean you, to insult you. Reject it. Reject it that it is not right. Suppose somebody comes and says, let us say, this carpet is green. Why should I argue with that person? Because I know for sure carpet is red. So he says, no, somehow he wants to prove it is green. I don't want to waste my time. So when destructive criticism comes, just avoid saying thank you very much and walk away. No point in arguing, no, what you're saying is wrong, you're not understood correctly, I am not like this, I am like this. No, don't argue. Just leave it at that. If constructive criticism is there and you really feel the person's concern to help you improve, or even if he's not concerned, really you know that this is the right feedback and I can improve based on that, please take that feedback and thank the person for giving the feedback, because not everybody has the courage or the audacity to give feedback. Most people are shy to keep good relations, and what Swamiji said, no, goody, goodness. So for that sake, they remain like that, and that is not a good thing. But if you have ego, you cannot take criticism. You cannot take feedback. Ego will not allow. So if you have that negative ego that I am so and so, you cannot take. So only people feel hurt after criticism or feedback are those who have huge ego. The lesser the ego, the faster it is to accept criticism and feedback. And as I said, you use a discrimination. If it's a positive criticism, take it in good spirit and improve upon that so that you will become a better person. And if it's a wrong criticism, it doesn't mean anything, because a lot of people just want to demean you. That just avoid. In 10 years, amount of criticism and feedback I have got, both positive and negative. That is what has helped us to come this far. For all positive criticism, I have gone back and got everybody together and worked on it. The first reaction would be, why they're saying like this? But then I deeply think, no, what they're saying is right. So go back and call everybody, let us improve on these things. So much of feedback we have got in last 10 years. Those who have been coming here for last 10 years, they would know how things have improved over here. Why things were not this way in the very first day? Because we didn't have feedback. We got a lot of feedback from people. Food is not good, cleanliness is missing, the timing of satsangs are not proper, the seating is not in order, people's behavior is not up to mark. So many things. Slowly, step by step, we've improved, we've come this far. And if it's a stupid criticism, for the sake of hurting our sentiments, which also we have received in plenty, and whenever our people got activated and said, no, let us go and give a reply, I said, let's not waste our time and energy. Let them do what they want to do. That's their job. We have no time for all that. Let us look at how to improve from here. This is how we saved a lot of energy. So if you don't have ego, both ways you will benefit. You will get the best out of the situation.
Swami, how can someone live a life without relying on any backup plans?
Surrender. Surrender to divine. If you really are truly surrendered to divine, where is the question of having plans? There is only one plan, that is divine plan. Long back I read a situation. God has a plan for my life, and that is all I need to know. Not the plan. That the God knows the plan. I don't need to know the plan. He has a plan, He knows. If I am surrendered, God will look after. And whichever way He looks after, I am happy. Whichever way He looks after. Adi Shankaracharya says in Bhaja Govindam, whether you are living in a temple or under a tree, whether you are wearing silk or wearing a deer skin, doesn't matter to such a person, because sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha, kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. Such a person who has given up the idea of storing, hoarding, amassing, protecting, planning, how can such a person not be happy, he says. Such a person has to be happy, because he's completely like a child, dependent on the divine for everything. And you may find it very illogical and sometimes irrational and sometimes very petrifying that how can somebody live without any backup plans? But I am living like that. Let me tell you very clearly. And I have no problems. I have no backup plans whatsoever. And those who know me very closely, they know what I am saying. I have no backup plans. I never plan what will happen tomorrow. In fact, other people come and tell. we should plan something for you. I don't need any planning. Whatever comes, I will take it. Yadayat kartum ayati tat kritva tishtati sukham. Whatever comes my way, I do it and I'm happy. I have no problem with anything. And tomorrow, if all these things are gone, also I have no problem. If I have more work comes, also I have no problem. I've never made a plan for myself. I don't have a plan. I have only plan for others. But I have no plan for myself. And plan for others is the divine plan. When a child comes and says, what should I study? If he's sincerely asking me, I tell them, this is what you should do. It may not be matching what the child is or child's parents are planning to do, but that is what is good for the child. I know it from the divine intuition. And if the child has the surrender, he will simply agree to the plan and won't make another backup plan. What if what Swami says does not happen? I should have a plan for myself. Then definitely what I said will not happen. Because you made a plan. So you have distanced this divinity from you. And there is no need of backup plan. It doesn't mean that you sell everything. No, whatever is coming your way, yadayat kartum ayati. You are doing business, some money comes, fine, gets stored in the account. As long as someday some other need comes, somebody's need comes, it goes away. You don't plan that I want to store up a 10 million or 20 million, 30 million, then only I will go and do something else. No, I have no such plan. Nobody should have such plans. And that is how we work. I was just mentioning to these people. Every time, I go to US and other places, people ask me, do you have a huge corpus fund? How do you run these institutions for free? How do you plan all these things? I first thought I'll give them practical answer that, yes, we have a proper this. Then I told, leave it. Why tell, kind of sugar-coated truth to them? Let me tell straight and frank. I told, no, we don't have any backup plans. We don't have any deposits. We don't have any corpus funds. Every month we work. Every month we get what we need to do. And we manage the things. And as long as we are doing selfless work, it goes on. They can't believe. They can't believe what I'm saying. But this is the truth. This is the pure, plain truth. No backup plans. And all those staff and students, if they're getting shivers now, that means you're not surrendered. A surrendered mind is never afraid. Because the one who is the whole universe, the Lord of the universe, what plan you are going to show him? I have a plan for my life, you see. What plan you are showing? That's what somebody sent me a message. Said, if you want God to have a good laugh, show them your plans. God will laugh at your plans. Look at this stupid fool. So much he has thought about his past, future, everything, and all this can change in a trice. Haritini Vishad. But so much planning we do. Yes, as part of your job. Now, you will say, I have no plan. I don't know whatever will be the surgery tomorrow. I don't plan at all. I'll go. That is not what I mean. That ego is not there, that I am planning and I have to look after myself. The fear and ego are not there. Work will still happen. I have to also plan. You have to also plan. Tomorrow, what is going to be the dinner or lunch or something, our cooks have to plan so that it is served. But that plan is the work plan, not backup plans. That planning you have to do. So work plans is okay. Backup plans are not okay. So surrendered minds will not have a backup plan.
Swami, how does one act when one's compassion is not in alignment with ground level reality or institutional policies? We feel helpless at times.
One's compassion is not in alignment means what? I feel what this is right, but institution is not thinking this is right. But that if you have institution policies which are not right, then it's your job to set it right. If you think something needs to be changed, go to the people who are in the position that can make a change. And namakam chamakam you do, things will happen. Don't start with chamakam and then console with namakam, no. Start with namakam. Sir, everything is going on so well. Now children have become so smart. Whenever they have to write some difficult message to me, first one full paragraph is how much selflessness they have learned here, how well things are going on. So now I have learned that trick and I skip the first para and straight away go to the second para. Who will waste time reading all these things? Nevertheless, you should write. That is your duty. Write properly. But I skip it because I don't have time to read the whole story. So I avoid the namakam, go to chamakam and see what exactly is your demand. And then I decide what needs to be done. But if you want to change an institutional policy which is not in alignment, you truly, truly feel in your heart that this is not proper, this is not right. And that is not out of ego, or that is not out of some show. But you have deeply thought about it. It's not that today just you got a brainwave, woke up and said, let us change this. No, it doesn't work like that. All the policies have been put in place by a lot of thorough thinking. But if you have thought a lot and you have felt that this policy may not be in alignment with whatever, please go to the right people who can make a change and sit down and convey it correctly, but you should have thought deeply enough that if they ask a question in return saying that no, you are suggesting this, but these are the constraints, you should have answered for that, you should have thought about it. Otherwise, you will lose credibility, nobody will listen to you next time because you have not thought about it deeply. So, whatever you want to propose, any changes, please think very deeply about it, understand the constraints in which the policy might be working, see it from 360-degree view, take a little feedback from some more people who feel like you, then come with a consolidated, proper presentation and approach to make the policy change. We are open to that. That's not a problem. But sometimes unprepared, instinctive, impulsive suggestions always get shot down. Even if they're right suggestions, they get shot down because the way you said it is not right. So deeply think and then come and suggest accordingly.
Swami, from the perspective of Bhagavad Gita, what is the right way to feel towards conflicts and wars happening around the world?
See, conflicts and wars are when two people are not agreeing on something. If they are both are agreeing, there are no conflicts. And why you don't agree on something? Because we have two different perspectives. And we are thoroughly convinced about those perspectives. We think we are only right, the other person is wrong. Then conflicts and wars happen. So what can we learn from Bhagavad Gita? As long as it is for the greater good of all. There are antisocial elements also, there are terrorists also. They are thoroughly convinced about what they are doing. You can't change their mindset. Can you? Not possible. They have been, that thinking has been so deeply ingrained in them that only they are right and everybody else is wrong. So nobody deserves to live, only they are supposed to live. And for that sake, they go and kill and things like that. See, that kind of conflict and wars are very ideological, extremist, and antisocial. Such things have to be condemned, such things have to be suppressed. So at that point, if you have to wage a war against that to suppress all those elements, nothing wrong, that is dharma only. Like cancer is there, somebody gets a gangrene or a cancer or whatever. It's part of your limb, but doctor will say we have to cut off your hand or leg or whatever because it's got cancer and it is. No, those are also cells only, there's divinity in all the cells and things like that. Doesn't work. You have to get rid of that limb which is not working, which is going to eat up the rest of the body. Likewise in society, people are, because of their karmas of the past, because of their associations of the present, they take to wrong steps, wrong extreme steps also. At that point in time, you can't convert or you can't transform everybody into good people. Sometimes certain situations demand that you take some action. And when for that reason, if the war happens, it is war of dharma yuddha, that's okay. But war is happening for personal egos. But world wars I have seen. Not I have seen means I know of those. We all read of those. They were all egos. There's nothing to gain or lose. Nobody was right or wrong in those world wars. Somebody wanted to rule the whole world. And they went on waging wars one after the other on some ideological differences. It was stupid. But because of personal ego, one leader or one country, everybody suffered. See, those have to be avoided. At that point in time, everybody in the world should come together and raise their voice. Because if they don't, sooner or later the war will reach your doorstep and destroy you also. So at that point in time, the people who are dharmic, they have to come together and object it. They have to resist it. But certain things that need to be done for the sake of betterment of all, like as I said, antisocial elements are there, terrorists are there. If you don't control them, like cancer, they can destroy the entire society. At that point of time, even if you have to wage a war, it is dharma, and that is what between Kauravas and Pandavas is happening over here. So that is the perspective of Bhagavad Gita. One question.
Swami, Krishna says that no harm will come to those who do good. Then why do bad things happen to good people?
They may be doing good today. They might not have done good in their previous lives. You never know. What is the way you can guarantee that they have always done good forever, all their lives, therefore they should never suffer in their life? Maybe they have done some bad some point in time. So today they are experiencing the results of it. So you can't draw, it's not such a straight equation that you did good today and you should only experience good today. Not like that. So thing is that there are many reasons. Second thing, you ask those good people, if they're really good from the God point of view, good. Not from society point of view. Society point of view, you do things which are as per the rules, regulation, norms of society, that is called goodness. Anything against the norms and regulations of society is called bad. But from God's point of view, good is selfless actions. If really you have done everything that is selflessly in your life, even if difficulties come, you never feel that bad is happening to me. It's only those whose goodness is only this lower level goodness. They only will complain like this. I did so much good to everybody, yet God is not kind to me. To the real good people, real selfless people, this thought itself will not come that something bad is happening to me despite me being so good. That idea itself does not come to them. So real good people will not have this confusion or this dilemma at all. It's only those who are good at the very basic level. Whose good is, I helped so many people, but somebody cheated me. I was kind to so many people, everybody ostracized me. I was always taking everybody along, doing everything for everyone, and nobody wants me today. Means your good was not really pure good. Pure goodness and pure people who are absolutely selfless, they never looked at what is going to happen to them and what will be the result of their goodness. They never think like that. They do good for goodness sake. They're not doing for an expectation of any kind of return. So anything wrong happens also in their lives, they're really never complaining. They're never bothered. They accept it as divine will and continue. For the others who see may say, how much you are suffering. The real good person is not even suffering. He has gone beyond all that sufferings. So this goodness, definition of goodness and the quality of goodness depends on people, but the real goodness, which is pure selfless good, will never have this issue at all. In fact, I always say, if you have problems coming in life, it is a reminder from God that you are not thinking of God enough. So Kunti's way. Kunti will say, please bless me with more problems, O Krishna, because look, that's the only time I really sincerely and intensely I remember you. All other times I casually remember you. And the real trouble comes, I truly remember you. I want to remember you all the time. So if problems is the only way I can remember you, let it be the way of mine. She has no problem. So your goodness, you have to ask what kind of goodness it is. A goodness which is totally pure will welcome problems also, saying that this is an opportunity for me to go back to my God, think of that God. And it is not an opportunity to complain and cry. So that way you will goodness, all problems also will be acceptable to you. So this is how good people behave in this world, the truly good people. These are important sessions, and question and answers are, as I said, it's our ancient way of learning and teaching. And I'm glad that people are asking questions and trying to understand these deeper truths. A lot of Vedantic terminologies will also come, which many of you may not be aware of. Much of it has been already answered in Master the Mind series, which is a 30 episodes series, and in that most of the Vedantic concepts have been already discussed. For those who are totally new to Vedanta, because why I'm saying is because slowly we are going towards more and more of Jnana Kanda. Bhagavad Gita will discuss more and more, like when we come to Purushottama Yoga will come, there will be concepts of Prakriti, Purusha and things like that, and Parameshwara, Paramatma. You'll have to understand the differences between all these things. Tattva Bodha is one of the texts, which is what you call like the introduction of Advaita philosophy. Those who are interested can read Tattva Bodha. A lot of commentaries are there on Tattva Bodha too. Otherwise, Master the Mind is also very simple English, but it may not be indexed. So you might learn the concepts over a period of time, but those are available too. I'm kind of, because of the time constraint, we could not start from the scratch, starting with the basic concepts and then take you there. I assume that at least 9th onwards, most of the children have learned some of these concepts during their Paravidya in the last 1 year, so they should be able to get a good start. But some of us who do not know, please go back and refer to these books, refer to Master the Mind, or ask your Paravidya coordinators if they can explain the concept in a little more detail to you, which you do not understand about. And Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita keeps using the words, interchangingly. What is Sankhya only is Jnana. Sometimes Jnana only is, Sankhya. So you will keep getting confused. Atma for that matter. Sometimes Atma is representing the supreme divine self. Sometimes Atma represents your individual self. So sometimes Atma represents your mind. So in Sanskrit, Atma has many, many meanings. So you have to use the right meaning at the right place, otherwise you'll get confused. So these are little things, but you have to pay attention and you have to understand the essence of what is being told. Don't go by why this word is used here. Technically, it should not have been used here. Don't get into these lanes and bylanes of arguments and discussions. You will lose the essence. So think like that and keep working on it. And whatever you do, it will never be lost. That's what Krishna says. Whatever effort you have put there, it will accrue. It will continue to help you at another time in another place also. Never all these efforts will be lost to you. So that is the great solace. Even if you have not achieved the highest today, all the vignana that we have discussed, and don't feel Vasudevan Sarvamiti, do not worry. All this knowledge has somehow got inside you and is accumulating, and this will have its own effect in the times to come. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted. So please continue to put efforts. That is most important on spiritual path. Don't take a step backwards. If you can't walk, crawl, but don't stop. Or worst, don't go back. That is most important, and that is possible if you're in the company of good people. Then you won't write to me, I don't like this place, I don't like this thing, I don't like that. Why? Something else is going on in your head. So stay with the company of good people and you will be able to understand the value and importance of this place. Okay.